Window box. Window dress. Alternative form of window dress. Window. Fitted with windows, often of a particular kind or in heraldry. Of a specified color. Window down. Simple past and past participle of window down. Windowed out. Simple past and past participle of window out. Windowed over. Simple past and past participle of window over. Windowed up. Simple past and past participle of window up. Window frame. Alternative form of window frame. Window frame. Plural of window frame. Window front. A large window on the street side of a shop or restaurant. Window fronts. Plural of window front. Windowful. The amount displayed. Laid in a window. Windowfuls. Plural of windowful. Window glass. A window pane. The glass comprising a window pane. The window panes in a building collectively. Window glasses. Plural of window glass. Windowing. The windows of a building. Fenestration. Windowing down. Present participle and gerund of window down. Windowing out. Present participle and gerund of window out. Windowing over. Present participle and gerund of window over. Windowing up. Present participle and gerund of window up. Windowings. Plural of windowing. Windowless. Having no windows, especially no external windows. Windowlessness. Absence of windows. Windowlet. A small window. Windowlets. Plural of windowlet. Window liquor. Alternative form of window liquor. Window liquors. Plural of window liquor. Window light. Natural light that enters a building through the window. Window light. Resembling a window and opening in the wall. Window line. The line formed by a series of windows. Window line. Plural. Of window line. Window maker. Someone who makes windows. Window makers. Plural of window maker. Window making. The manufacture of windows. Windowman. A clerk who serves at a counter or office behind a window. Windowman. Plural of windowman. Window pane. A piece of glass filling a window or a section of a window. Window pane acid. The recreational drug acid distributed on small clear strips of gelatin. Window pane oyster. Placuna placenta, a bivalve marine mollusk in the family Placunidae with a durable translucent shell. Window pane oysters. Plural of window pane oyster. Window pane tweed. A tweed fabric with a pattern of squares. Window pane. Having one or more window panes. Window panes. Plural of window pane. Window paning. The border around an individual block of a quilt. Windows. Microsoft Windows, an operating system with a WIMP graphical user interface that dominates the personal computer market. Windows down. Third person singular simple present indicative of window down. Windows key. A key on a computer keyboard bearing the Microsoft Windows logo, used to open the Start menu and as a modifier key for various other functions. Windows keys. Plural of Windows key. Windows of discourse. Plural of window of discourse. Windows of opportunity. Plural of window of opportunity. Windows of time. Plural of window of time. Windows on the world. Plural of window on the world. Windows out. Third person singular simple present indicative of window out. Windows over. Third person singular simple present indicative of window over. Windows tax. Synonym of Microsoft tax. Windows taxes. Plural of Windows tax. Windows up. Third person singular simple present indicative of window up. Windows 1252. A single byte character encoding of the Latin alphabet that was used by default in Microsoft Windows for English and many Romance and Germanic languages. Window screen. Alternative form of window screen. Window screens. Plural of window screen. Windows fall. Plural of windowful. Window shopping. Alternative. Form of window shopping. Windowsill. The horizontal member protruding from the base of the window frame. Windowsills. Plural of windowsill. 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 Windowward. Toward a window. Windowwards. Towards a window. Window. Window-wise, in the manner of a window. Windowy, having little crossings or openings like the sashes of a window. Windows, Microsoft Windows. Windtag, snow. Formed into a compact mass by the wind. Wind defense, a sportswear variety of trousers pants intended for wearing without undergarments for athletic and comfort purposes. Windpipe, the Czechia. Windpipes, plural of windpipe. Wind tower. Power harnessed or generated from the wind. Windproof, providing protection from the wind. Windproof, simple past and past participle of windproof. Windproofing, present participle and gerund of windproof. Windproofs, third person singular simple present indicative of windproof. Windbath, a wind all. Windbaths, plural of windpuff. Windpump, a structure somewhat like a windmill for pumping water, either for drainage or for irrigation. Wind pumps, plural of wind pump. Windred, a surname. Windreds, plural of windred. Windroad, alternative form of wind. Windroad. Windroads, plural of windrow. Windrows, alternative spelling of windrows. Windroses, plural of windrows. Windress, Microsoft Windows. Windrow, a row of cut grain or hay allowed to dry in a field. Windrow, simple past and past participle of windrow. Windrower, a machine for windrowing. Windrowers, plural of windrower. Windrowing. Present participle and gerund of windrow. Windrows, plural of windrow. Windrush, a river in Gloucestershire and Oxfordshire, England, a tributary of the Thames. Windrush generation, the generation of people who emigrated from the West Indies to Great Britain after the Second World War. Windrusher, a member of the Windrush generation. Windrushers, plural of windrusher. Winds, plural of wind. Wind's back, third person singular simple present indicative of wind back. Wind's back the clock, third person singular simple present indicative of wind back the clock. Winds down, Third person singular simple present indicative of wind. Down. Winds of change. The inexorable process of inevitable societal and political change and progress over time. Winds off. Third person singular simple present indicative of window. Off. Winds up. Third person singular simple present indicative of wind up. Winds up one's bottoms. Third person singular simple present indicative of wind up one's bottoms. Windsail, a wide tube or funnel of canvas used to convey a stream of air for ventilation into the lower compartments of a vessel. Windsails. Plural of windsail. Windsat, a satellite used to measure surface winds. Windscale, former name of Sellafield. Windscoop, synonym of windcatcher. Windscoops, plural of windscoop. Windscreen, a transparent screen made of glass located at the front of a vehicle in order to protect its occupants from the wind and weather. Windscreen phenomenon. Alternative form of windshield phenomenon. Windscreen washer, a device that pumps water mixed with detergent from a tank through small nozzles onto the windscreen/windshield of a car in order to clean it. Windscreen washers, plural of windscreen washer. Windscreen wiper, a device used to clear rain and dirt from a windscreen, normally a pivoting arm with a rubber blade, a windshield wiper. Windscreen wiper. Plural of windscreen wiper. Windscreen, simple past and past participle of windscreen. Windscreening, present participle and gerund of windscreen. Windscreens. Plural of windscreen. Windjaft, the part of a windmill that carries the sails and brake wheel and smock in tower mills, and some post mills or the head wheel and tail wheel in a post mill. Windjacks, plural of windshaft. Windshake, a crack in wood caused by the force of wind while the tree was growing. Windshaken, of wood. Damaged by windshake. Windshakes, plural of windshake. Windshear, alternative form of windshear. Windshears, plural of windshear. Windshield, a transparent screen made of glass, located at the front and back of a vehicle in front of its occupant. deepens to protect them from the wind force generated by the vehicle's speed and inclement weather. Windshield bias, the tendency of drivers to ignore, downplay, or misinterpret the perspective of those outside of motor vehicles. Windshield phenomenon, the anecdotal observed decrease in the number of insects splattering across windshields during road trips across the years. Windshield time, the amount of time in one's car during which one performs activities related to one's job. Windshield washer, a device on a vehicle that ejects liquid in order to clean the windshield. Windshield washers, plural of windshield washer. Windshield wiper, a device used to clear rain and dirt from a windshield, normally a pivoting arm with a rubber blade. Windshield wipers. Plural of windshield wiper. Windshield, simple past and past participle of windshield. Windshielding, present participle and gerund of windshield. Windshields, plural of windshield. Windslab, snow that peels off in large slabs when disturbed, increasing the risk of avalanche. Wind slabs, plural of windslab. Windsolve, a fan-powered enclosed vehicle for traveling over ice. Windsolves. Plural of windsole. Windtap, the breaking of the bowl of the tree by the wind. Windsaps, plural of windsnap. Windsigh, a large, conical, open-ended tube designed to indicate wind direction and relative wind speed, used especially at smaller airfields. Windsocks, plural of windsock. Windsock, characterized or marked by the wind, windy. Windsor, several places in the United States. Windsor and Maidenhead, a royal borough of Berkshire, England, comprising those two towns and the surrounding area. Windsor bean, synonym of fava bean visha faba. Windsor beans, plural of Windsor bean. Windsor blue, a cool gray shade of blue. Windsor blues, plural of Windsor blue. Windsor chair, a chair built with a solid wooden seat into which the back and legs are round tenon or pushed into drilled holes. Windsor chairs. Plural of Windsor chair. Windsor County, one of 14 counties in Vermont, United States. County seat, Woodstock. Windsor knot, a wide triangular knot of a particular sort in a necktie. Windsor knots, plural of Windsor knot. Windsor locks, a town in Hartford County, Connecticut, United States. Windsor soap, a kind of perfumed brown toilet soap. Windsor soaps, plural of Windsor soap. Windsor wave, a subdued waving gesture used by the British royal family to acknowledge the public. Windsor waves, plural of Windsor. Wave. Windsor, obsolete spelling of Windsor. Windsorizing, misspelling of Windsorizing. Windspeed. Alternative spelling of wind speed. Wind speeds, plural of wind speed. Wind sprint, alternative form of wind sprint. Wind sprints, plural of wind sprint. Windster, a person who winds wool, silk, thread, etc. Windsters, plural of windster. Windstorm, a storm in which there are strong, violent winds but no precipitation. Windstorms, plural of windstorm. Windstream, alternative form of windstream. Windstreams. Plural of windstream. Windstream, the strength of the wind. The amount of force with which the wind blows. Windstreams. Plural of wind strength. Windster, strewn by the wind. Windsucker, a horse with the habit of windsucking. Windsuckers, plural of windsucker. Windsucking. A horse's habit of arching the neck and sucking air into the windpipe. Windsurf, to ride a surfboard that has an attached sail. Windsurfboard, synonym of sailboard. Windsurfboards, plural of windsurfboard. Windsurfs, simple past and past participle of windsurf. Windsurfer, a person who windsurfs. Windsurfers, plural of windsurfer. Windsurfing, a marine sport in which one stands on a floating board typically 2-3 meters in length to which a sail is attached. The board is steered by tilting the sail or banking the board. Some windsurfers use large waves to perform jumps and other stunts. Windsurfs, third person singular simple present indicative of windsurf. Windswipe, the swaying in the wind of an otherwise fixed object such as a tree or a man-made construction. Windswept, exposed to the winds. Windtalker, Alternative letter case form of wind talker. Wind talkers. Plural of wind talker. Windthrow. The uprooting and slash or overthrowing of a tree caused by the wind. Windthrow. Uprooted or overthrown by the wind. Windthrow. Uprooted or overthrown by the wind. Overthrown by the wind. Windthrows. Plural of windthrow. Windthrows. Plural of windthrow. Wind tide. Impermeable to wine. Wind tunnel. Alternative form of wind tunnel. Alternative form of wind tunnel. Wind tunnels. Plural of wind tunnel. Window. Pronunciation spelling of window. Window. Plural of window. Window. Alternative for wind up radio. Alternative form of wind up radio. Wind up radios. Plural of wind up radio. Windex. Plural of window. Windowcase. A user who advocates the Microsoft Windows operating system. Windowcase. Plural of Windows operating system. Windowcase. Plural of Windowcate. Windwalker. A surname. Windward. Toward the wind, or the direction from which the wind is blowing. Windward Islander. A person from the Windward Islands. Windward Islanders. Plural of Windward Islander. Windward Islands. The southern islands of the Lesser Antilles, composed of the island nations of Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Grenada, and Trinidad and Tobago. Windward Isles. Synonym of Windward Islands. Windward of the law. Within the letter of the law, but not the spirit of the law. Windward Passage. A strait in the Caribbean Sea between the islands of Cuba and Hispaniola. Windwardly. In a windward direction. Windwardmost. Superlative form of windward. Most windward. Windwardness. The quality of being windward. Windwards. The Windward Islands. Windward. A mudflat exposed as a result of wind action on water. Windward. Plural of windward. Windway. The portion of a wind instrument through which the air is blown. Windways. Plural of windway. Windwheel. A wheel driven by the wind and used to power a machine. Windwheels. Plural of windwheel. Windwise. In the direction of the wind. When worn, worn or smooth by the action of wind erosion. Windy, accompanied by wind. Windy City, nickname for Chicago, a city in Illinois, United States. Windy pasties, plural of windy pasty. Windy pasty, a pasty made from leftover pastry, usually served with jam and cream. Why? Alternative form of wine. Why? A surname. Wine acid. Tartaric acid. Wine and dine. To entertain or woo someone with a fine meal. Wine aunt, a child-free, at least somewhat alcoholic older single woman. Wine aunts. Plural of wine ant. Wine ball, a kind of hard candy in the form of a sphere. Wine balls, plural of wine ball. Wine bar, a drinking establishment where only wine is served. Wine bars, plural of wine bar. Wine biscuit, a kind of sweet biscuit served with wine. Wine biscuits, plural of wine biscuit. Wine bottle, a tall bottle with a long neck, normally made of dark or clear glass, for holding and serving wine. Wine bottleful, alternative form of wine bottleful. Wine bottles, plural of wine bottle. Wine bottles full, plural of wine bottle. Full. Wine cake, any of various types of cake made with wine. As an ingredient. Wine cakes, plural of wine cake. Wine cave, a subterranean grotto for the storage and aging of wine. Wine caves, plural of wine cave. Wine cellar, an underground place for storing wine at a temperature. Wine cellars, plural of wine cellar. Wine collar, an accessory that fits around the neck of a wine bottle, designed to absorb drips that run down the bottle after pouring. Wine collar, plural of wine collar. Wine cooler, any piece of equipment used to keep wine chilled. Wine coolers, plural of wine cooler. Wine coober, a person who samples, bottles, and sells wine. Wine coobers, plural of wine coober. Wine cup, alternative spelling of wine cup. Wine cups, plural of wine cup. Wine fly, Plural of wine fly. Wine flight, a series of glasses of wine, either as a tasting or to accompany a multi-course meal. Wine flight, plural of wine flight. Wine fly, any of the genus Biophylla of small two-winged fly. Wine from unpressed grapes, a sweet wine made from the juice that flows out of grapes before they are pressed. This entry is a translation hub. Wine gallon, a pre-imperial unit of capacity, roughly equivalent to 3.785 liters, used to measure wine, honey, oils, and other commercial liquids. Wine gallons, plural of wine gallon. Wine glass, a glass vessel, normally with a stem from which wine is drunk. Wine glasses. Plural of wine glass. Wine grape. Any variety of grape especially suited for winemaking to be fermented into alcohol. Usually, its suitability has been imparted by selective breeding. Wine grapes. Plural of wine grape. Wine grower. Alternative spelling of wine grower. Wine growers. Plural of wine grower. Wine growing. Alternative form of wine growing. Wine gum. A chewist, pasta-like jelly candy, usually brightly colored and fruit-flavored. Wine gums. Plural of wine gum. Wine key. A corkscrew. Wine keys, plural of wine key. Wine lake, a large surplus of wine, especially as produced by the European Economic Community or its successors. Wine lakes. Plural of wine lake. Wine list, a list of wines, usually with a short description, available at, for example, a restaurant or bar. Wine lists, plural of wine list. Wine merchant, a person or organization that distributes, sells, or purchases wine. Wine merchants, plural of wine merchant. Wine mom, a mother who drinks alcohol to relieve the stress associated with parenting. Wine moms, plural of wine mom. Wine moth, an insect of the genus Oenophila, whose larvae bore holes in the corks of wine bottles. Wine moth, plural of wine moth. Wine mum, alternative form of wine mom. Wine mums, plural of wine mum. Wine o'clock, the time of the first glass of wine or alcoholic beverage of the day. Wine of opium, a tincture of opium and aromatized sherry. Wine palm, any of several palms that have a sugary sap that can be fermented to produce palm wine, especially the fishtail palm Caryota urens and the Palmyra palm Borisches flavolifer. Wine palms, plural of wine palm. Wine rack, a set of shelves for the organized storage of wine. Wine racks, plural of wine rack. Wine route, a marked and advertised road with special signs in a wine-producing region, used to promote local vineyards and other places of touristic interest. Wine routes, plural of wine route. Wine server, synonym of sommelier. Wine servers, plural of wine server. Wine shop, alternative form of wine shop. Wine shops, plural of wine shop. Wine steward, synonym of sommelier. Wine stewardess. Female equivalent of wine steward. Wine stewardesses, plural of wine stewardess. Wine stewards, plural of wine steward. Wine stone, a kind of crust deposited in wine casks, crude argol. Wine stones, plural of wine stone. Wine stopper, a removable cork that can be inserted into and extracted from the neck of a wine bottle. Wine stoppers, plural of wine stopper. Wine taster, alternative form of wine taster. Wine tasters, plural of wine taster. Wine tears, synonym of tears of wine. Wine thief, a pipette used to remove small amounts of wine from a cask in order to taste or test it. Wine thieves. Plural of wine thief. Wine tosser, a person who talks a great deal about wine but actually knows very little. Wine tossers, plural of wine tosser. Wine trough, alternate. The form of wine trough. Wine troughs, plural of wine trough. Wine up, to get drunk on wine. Wine vault, a vault where wine is stored. Wine vaults, plural of wine vault. Wine vinegar, vinegar made. Wine away wine. Wine vinegars, plural of wine vinegar. Wine waiter, The member of staff at a restaurant who keeps the wine cellar advises guests on the choice of wines and serves them. A waiter who is also in charge of the wine cellar and other duties normally assigned to sommeliers. Wine waiters, plural of wine waiter. Wine waitress, female equivalent of wine waiter. Wine waitresses, plural of wine waitress. Wine whey, whey made from milk coagulated by the use of wine. Weinbibber, alternative form of weinbibber. Weinbibbers, plural of weinbibber. Wine blue, of a color ranging between indigo and purple, like that of dark wine. Wine blues, plural of wine blue. Wine bottle, alternative spelling of wine bottle. Wine bottleful, as much as a wine bottle will hold. Wine bottlefuls, plural of wine bottleful. Wine bottles, plural of wine bottle. Wine colored, having the rich, deep red color of red wine. Wine colored, alternative spelling of wine colored. Wine cup, alternative spelling of wine. Wine cup. Wine cups, plural of wine cup. Wine dark, resembling the dark color or perhaps other properties of red wine. Wine glass, alternative spelling of wine glass. Wine glasses, plural of wine glass. Wine growing, alternative form of wine growing. Wine key, alternative form of wine key. Wine keys. Plural of wine key. Wineology, alternative form of wineology. Wine tree, alternative spelling of wine. Wine trees, plural of wine tree. Wine-wine merger, a merger in which turn W, the voiceless sound heard at the beginning of the word wine in a Scottish accent or several accents in the United States becomes W, the sound heard at the beginning of the word wine. In accents where this merger occurs, wine and wine are homophones. Wine-wine mergers, plural of wine-wine merger. Wine bag, a leather bag formerly used to carry wine. Wine bags, plural of wine bag. Wine ball, alternative form of wine ball. Wine balls, plural of wine ball. Wine bar, alternative spelling of wine bar. Wine barger, a surname. Wine bargers, plural of wine barger. Wine bars, plural of wine bar. Winery, plural of wineberry. Winery, the grapefruit of plants of the genus Vitis. Winer, a habitual or heavy drinker of alcohol, especially wine, an excessive wine drinker, a drunkard. Winebibbers, plural of winebibber. Winebibber. The habitual or heavy drinking of alcohol, especially wine. Winebibbing, the habit or practice of drinking a lot of alcohol, especially wine. Wineboo, alternative form of wine blue. Wine bottle, alternative form of wine bottle. Wine bottleful, alternative form of wine bottleful. Wine bottlefuls, plural of wine bottleful. Wine bottles, plural of wine bottle. Wine box. A box containing boxed wine. Wine boxes, plural of wine box. Weimerner, a surname. Weinbernuye, a member of the Churches of God General Conference, Weinbrenner, an evangelical Christian denomination in the United States originating in the revivalism and evangelistic efforts of John Weinbrenner. Weinbrennians, plural of Weinbrennuyen. Weinburners, plural of Weinbrenner. Wine cup, a vessel from which wine is drunk. Wine cups, plural of wine cup. Wine. Simple past and past participle of wine. Wined and dined. Simple past and past participle of wine and dine. Why not? Simple past and past participle of why not. Wine dark, alternative form of wine dark. What? Wine drunk, drunk from drinking wine. Wineful, full of wine, well supplied with, or having drunk a lot of wine. Winefully, while full of wine, drunkenly. What? Anger, a surname from Dutch. Weingartner, a surname. Wine gardeners, plural of wine gardener. Winegers, plural of wineger. Wine glass, alternative. Spelling of wine glass. Wine glasses, plural of wine glass. Wine glassesful, plural of wine glassful. Wine glassful, as much as a wine glass will hold. Wine glassfuls, Plural of wine glassful. Wine grape, alternative form of wine grape. Wine grapes. Plural of wine grape. Wine grower. A person or company that owns a vineyard and produces wine, a vinedresser. Wine grower. Plural of wine grower. Wine growing. Synonym of viticulture, the cultivation of grape vines for wine production. Wine house. A surname. Wine houses. Plural of wine house. Weininger. A surname. Weiningers. Plural of Weininger. Wyman. A surname. Winelands. Plural of wineland. Wine. Without wine. Winelessness. Absence of wine. Wine-eye. Resembling wine. Wineless. Alternative spelling of wineless. Wineless. Plural of wineless. Weimar. Knowledge of the history and craft. Wine and winemaking. Oenology. Winemaker. A person or company that makes wine. Winemakers. Plural of winemaker. Winemaking. The process of making wine. Winemakings. Plural of winemaking. Wyman. A surname. Wymans. Plural of Wyman. Wine master. An expert in winemaking, especially one who is in charge of winemaking at a winery. Wine masters. Plural of wine master. Wine merchant. Someone who sells wine. Wine merchants. Plural of wine merchant. Wine. A surname. Winemillers. Plural of winemiller. Winemonger. A seller of wine. Winemongers. Plural of winemonger. Winology. The study of wine. Wine vat. A pot for holding wine. Wine pots. Plural of wine pot. Wine press. A press used to extract juice from grapes as the first step of winemaking. Wine presses. Plural of wine press. Wine. Here. A surname. Wymat. Alternative form of wine rack. Wimax. Plural of wine rack. Wineries. Plural of winery. Winers. Winery, a place where wine is made, or a company that makes wine. Wines, plural of wine. Wines and dines. Third person singular simple present indicative of wine and dine. Wine up. Third person singular simple present indicative of wine up. Wine sap. A medium-sized winter apple of a deep red variety with yellowish, somewhat acidic flesh. Wine saps. Plural of wine sap. Winespur, an unincorporated community in southwestern Paint Township, Holmes County, Ohio, United States. Wine is synonym of wine speak. Wine shop. A shop selling wine. Wine shops, plural of wine shop. Wineskin, a bag traditionally made from the skin of a goat to goat skin, used for holding and dispensing wine. Wines. Skins, plural of wineskin. Winesup, a piece of bread soaked in wine, a small cake made with grapes or wine. Winesubs, plural of winesup. Wine speak, the jargon used by wine experts and oenologists. Wine taster, one who examines and evaluates wine by tasting it. Wine tasters, plural of wine taster. Wine tasting, the sensory examination and evaluation of wine. Wine tastings. Plural of wine tasting. Wine tree, a grapevine. Wine trees, plural of wine tree. Wine trough. Wine press. Wine troughs, plural of wine trough. Wine that, a vat used in winemaking. Wine vats, plural of wine vat. Wineware, article. Used in the preparation and drinking of wine. Wine. All wine vats, plural of wine vat. Wineware, articles used in the preparation and drinking of wine. Wine, alternative spelling of whiny. Wininess, alternative form of whininess. Winfarthing, a village and civil parish in South Norfolk District, Norfolk, England. OS Grid Ref TM 1008. Winfield, a neighborhood of Lake Country District Municipality, Regional District of Central Okanagan, British Columbia, Canada. Winfields, plural of Winfield. Winford, a place name. Winfords, plural of Winford. Winforms, abbreviation of Windows Form. Winfrey, a male given name from Old English. Winfrey, a surname. Winfreys. Plural of Winfrey. Winfrey, a surname transferred from the given. The name. Winfreys, plural of Winfrey. Winfreith Newburgh, a village and civil parish served by Winfreith Newburgh and East Knighton Parish Council in Dorset, England, previously in Purbeck District OS Ref SY 8084. What? A surname. Wing and prayer, a precarious situation, a situation whose successful outcome is hoped for but uncertain. Wing attack. A player allowed in the center third and goal third, but not the shooting circle. Wing attacks. Plural of wing attack. Wing back. Alternative form of wing back. Wing backs. Plural of wingback. Wing bar, a band of contrasting color or of feathers with a distinct appearance that crosses a bird's wing. Wing bars, plural of wing bar. Wing case, alternative form of wing case. Wing cases, plural. Of wing case. Wing chair, a chair with a high back from which project small side pieces, originally to protect from drafts. Wing chairs, plural of wing chair. Wing chun. A popular style of kung fu. Wing collar, a small standing collar with the points pressed to stick out, resembling wings, used in shirts intended to be worn with men's evening dress. Wing collars, plural of wing collar. Wing commander, alternative letter case form of wing. Commander found when the term is used as a title. Wing commander, a person holding a rank in the RAF between that of squadron leader and group captain, equivalent to an army lieutenant colonel. Wing commanders, plural of wing commander. Wing commanders, plural. Plural of wing commander. Wing corkscrew, a type of corkscrew having two levers on either side of the worm, so that the cork is removed by pushing the levers together after the worm has been driven into the cork. Wing corkscrews, plural of wing corkscrew. Wing defense, a player allowed in the center third, defensive goal third, but not the shooting circle. Wing defenses, plural of wing defense. Wing fence. A fixed aerodynamic device attached to an aircraft wing. Wing fences, plural of wing fence. Wing fick. Alternative form of wing fick. Wing foiling. A surface water sport where a rider uses a lightweight wing on a surfboard with a hydrofoil. Wing gear. Landing gear mounted in the roots of an aircraft wings. Wing gears. Plural of wing gear. Wing and ground effect. Ground effect on a wing of an aircraft flying close to the ground. Wing and ground effects. Plural of wing and ground effect. When it to improvise, to make things up or figure things out as one goes, to perform with little or no preparation. Wing king, a male wing commander. Wing loading, the load carried by unit area of wing. Wing loadings, plural of wing loading. Wing mirror, either of a pair of mirrors on the sides of a car or other vehicle that enable the driver to see to the side and behind. Wing mirrors, plural of wing mirror. Wing nut, a nut with wing-like projections to provide leverage in turning with thumb and forefinger. Wing nuts, plural of wing nut. Wing queen, a female wing commander. Wing rail, a junction between two rails that diverge in a V formation. Wing rails, plural of wing rail. Wing sauce, the sauce served with buffalo wings, usually made with vinegar, butter, and hot sauce. Wing sauces, plural of wing sauce. Wing shooter, a hunter who shoots birds in the field, as opposed to skeet shooting. Wing shooters, plural of wing shooter. Wing snail, any of various kinds of the genus Strombus. Wing snails, plural of wing snail. Wing surfing. A surface water sport where a rider uses a lightweight wing on a surfboard. Wing trimmer, the person who operates the trimming controls of a wing sail to trim it to fit wind conditions. Wing trimmers, plural of wing trimmer. Wing walker, a person who undertakes wing walking. Wing walkers, plural of wing walker. Wing walking is stunt performed at air shows, particularly in the interwar years, in which a person climbs through the struts of a biplane in flight or flies strapped in a frame on the top wing of the aircraft. Wing wall, in a bridge, a retaining wall on either side of an abutment. Wing walls, plural of wing wall. Wing warping, an early system for lateral roll control on a fixed-wing aircraft involving the flexing of the wing to achieve movement. Bit obsolete spelling of wing. Wing and wing. Sailing a square-rigged vessel before the wind with studding sails on both sides. Wingback, a player who plays on the wing and acts as both a defender and an attacker depending on the team's situation. Wingbacks, plural of wingback. Wing-footed, having wings on the feet, very fast. Wing-handed, having the anterior limbs or hands adapted for flight such as bats, flying foxes, or pterodactyls. Wingnut, alternative form of wingnut. Wingnuts, plural of wingnut. Wing flag, the art of playing is a winger. Wing shell, any of various species of marine bivalve shells formerly belonging to the genus Avicula no longer accepted, now is synonym of Pteria, with species assigned to several genera, in which the hinge border projects like a wing. Wing shells, plural of wing shell. Wing shot, shot in a wing. Wing shots, plural of wing shot. Wingard, a surname. Wing guards, plural of wingard. Wingnate, any of a number of towns in English-speaking countries. Winggates, plural of Wingate. Wingatui, a settlement near Mosgiel, Otago. New Zealand. Wingback, a player who doubles on either side of the center as a defender when their team is defending, and a winger when they are attacking. Wingback chair. A chair with a high back from which projects small side pieces, originally to protect from draft. Wingback chairs, plural of wingback chair. Wingbacked, having wingbacks. Wingbacks, plural of wingback. Wingbar, alternative form of wingbar. Wing bars, plural of wing bar. Wing base, the part of the body where a wing is attached. Wing bases, plural of wing base. Wingbeat, a single stroke made in flight by the wings of an animal that flies by beating its wings. Wingbeats, plural of wingbeat. Wingbacks, the primary load-carrying structure of the wing of a fixed-wing aircraft. Wingboxes, plural of wingbox. Wingback, a flattened structure on the bodies of a nymph that will form the wings in adult insect. Wingbags, plural of wingbag. Wing case, an elytron. Wing cases, plural of wing case. Wing cow. Synonym of blue sandalwood. Winkeltizes, plural of winkelties. Wingshare, alternative form of wingshare. Wingshares, plural of wingshare. Wingcar, wing commander. Wingcoes, plural of winko. Witter, a glyph from a wingdings font. Wingdings, a dingbat font in which each character is represented by an unrelated symbol. Windot, a dog used to facilitate social interaction. Windogs, plural of wing. Dog. Windom, winged creatures as a group. Wing. Wingdoms, plural of wingdom. Way, a surname. Wingecarriby, the Wingecarriby River, a river in the Southern Highlands, New South Wales. Red, having wings. Wenge, alternative spelling of winged. Windbee, a tropical legume of species Sophocarpus tetragonalavis, having clusters of purple flowers and pods with 4 jagged wings. Winged beans, plural of winged bean. Wind, simple past and past participle of winged. Winged monkeys, ominous pawns of evil forces. Winged rat, a pigeon. Winged rats, plural of winged rat. Winged T, a formation of 2 halfbacks where one lines up just behind the line of scrimmage between the split end and the offensive tackle, and the other lines up behind the quarterback and next to the fullback. Winged ass, plural of winged T. When a word or statement which is very apt for an occasion or memorable. Winged words, plural of winged word. Windily, swiftly, fleetly as if on wings. Wingness, the quality of a wing. Whinging, present participle and gerund of whinge. Winjallow, a village in Wingecarriby Shire, New South Wales, Australia. Winger, a surname. Wingers, plural of winger. Windert, a surname. surname from German. Wingerter, a surname. Wingers, plural of Wingerter. Wingerts, plural of Wingert. Wingerworth, a village and civil parish in northeast Derbyshire district, Derbyshire, England. OS grid ref SK 3867. Wenges, plural of Winge. Wenge, a surname. Wenditz, plural of Winge. Wendat, the middle segment of a chicken wing, which is less meaty than the drumet and contains two bones, the radius and the ulna. Wendats, plural of wingjet. Wingfe, fan fiction, in which canonically wingless characters are given wings. Wingjield, a number of places in England. Wingfields, plural of Wingfield. Windish, a sea robin with large wing-like pectoral fins. Wingfish, plural of wingfish. Wingfly, synonym of aileron. Wingfly, plural of wingflap. Wingform, the particular formation of an insect's wings. Wingforms, plural of wingform. Winggirl, a wingwoman, especially a young one. Winggirls, plural of winggirl. Widow, I play. His name. Wiggums, plural of Wingham. Widda. Any entity having a head or head-like element resembling a wing. Winghead shark, a species of hammerhead shark, Eusphyra blotchii, in the family Sphaenidae, named for the remarkably wide lobes on its head. It is the sole species in its genus. Winghead sharks, plural of winghead shark. Wingheads, plural of winghead. Wayhobe, stability of the wings in flying, a seeming purchase of the air made by a flying bird. Wingholds, plural of winghole. Wingies, plural of wingy. Wing, present participle and gerund of wing. Wing, present participle. And gerund of wing it. Wingism, any position or philosophy on the spectrum of left-wing or right-wing politics, in contrast to apolitical or anti-political people. Wingest, a person who holds views associated with wingism. Wingests, plural of wingus. Wingo, to bend or twist, wriggle back and forth. Wheeler, a surname. Wheelers. wingler. Wingles, third person singular simple present indicative of wingle. Wingless, having no or only rudimentary wings. Wingless, obsolete. Spelling of wingless. Winglessly, without wings. Winglessness, absence of wings. Winglet. A little wing. Winglets, plural of winglet. Wing-like, having the characteristics of a wing. Wing-loading, alternative form of wing-loading. Wing-loadings. Plural of wing-loading. Wingman, a pilot partner of another, a pilot who flies in the same wing or squadron. Wingman, simple past and past participle of wingman. Wingmaning. Present participle and gerund of wingman. Wingmans, third person singular simple present indicative of wingman. Wingmanship. Power or skill in flying. Wingmate, synonym of wingman. Wingmates, plural of wingmate. Wingman, plural of wingman. Wing, et desizuist. Of the genus Teigu native to Asia. Wingnutosphere, the community of bloggers perceived to be on the political far right. Wingnuts, plural of wingnut. Wingnuttery, craziness, wooness. Winnetty, of or resembling a wingnut. Wingo, a surname. Wingos, plural of wingo. Wingover, an aerobatic maneuver in which an airplane makes a steep climb followed by a vertical flat turn. The plane turns to its side without rolling in a short dive, leveling out to fly in the opposite direction from which the maneuver began. Wingovers, plural of wingover. Windet, the part of a pupa that develops into a wing in the adult insect. Wingpads, plural of wingpad. Wivet, the location under and at the base of the wing where the axillary feathers are found, analogous to the armpit of an arm. Wingbits, plural of wingbit. Wingfly, alternative form of wingplay. Wingrave, a village in Wingrave with Rosham Parish, Buckinghamshire, England. OS Grid Ref SB 8618. Wingrave with Rosham, a civil parish in Buckinghamshire, England, which includes these two villages. Wingraves, plural of Wingrave. Wingrove, a place name. Wingrove, Plural of wing grove. Wing is plural of wing. Wing is a third person singular simple present indicative of wing it. Wing sail, a variable camber aerodynamic structure that may be fitted to a marine vessel in place of conventional sails. Wing sails, plural of wing sail. Wing shooting, the shooting of birds in flight. Wingspan, the distance from the left wingtip to the right wingtip of a bird, airplane, etc. Wingspan, plural of wingspan. Wing spot, a spot on a wing as of a bird or butterfly. Wing spots, plural of wing spot. Wing spread, the distance between the extreme tips of the wings of a bird, insect, or aircraft. Wing spreads, plural of wing spread. Wing stroke, a wing meet. Wing strokes, plural of wing stroke. Wingsuit, a special jumpsuit used in extreme sports like a parachute, which adds surface area to the wearer's body to create lift. Wingsuited, dressed in a wingsuit. Wingsuiter, a person who flies with a wingsuit. Wingsuits, plural of wingsuit. Winged, the extreme tip of the wing of an aircraft, bird, flying insect, etc. Wingtips, plural of wingtip. Wiggle, an unincorporated community in Baker County, Oregon, United States. Wingwalker, alternative form of wing walker. Wingwalkers, plural of wingwalker. Wing happiness. Winglands. Plural of wingwang. Wigwoman, a female friend who accompanies one to offer support. Wigwoman, plural of wingwoman. Winged or as if winged, inclined to fly. Winna, a surname. Winierski, a surname. Winierskis, plural of Winierski. Widdy, a surname. Winnix, plural of Winnick. Wenagi, a surname from Polish. Wenagis, plural of Weniki. What comparative form of whiny, more wine. Whiny is superlative form of whiny, most whiny. Winifred, a female given name from Welsh. What? Okay. Dendrobium cunninghami, an epiphytic orchid found in New Zealand. Winoi, in a whiny manner, drunkenly. Whininess, the quality of being whiny, drunkenness. Whining. Present participle and gerund of wine. Whining and dining. Present participle and gerund of wine and dine. Winding up. Present participle and gerund of wine up. Winninger. A surname. Winningers, plural of Winninger. Winings, a surname from German. Winningses, plural. Of whinings. Widdish, resembling wine, whiny. WinJS, initialism of Windows library for Java script. An open source Java script library developed by Microsoft. Wick, to close one's eyes in sleep. Winkas, to turn a blind eye to something, to corruptly ignore some wrongdoing, to pretend not to have seen something, to signal one's approval of illicit activities while maintaining the ability to plausibly deny knowing about it, to tolerate or tacitly encourage inappropriate, immoral, or illegal behavior. Wink murder. A children's game in which a designated player attempts to wink at as many people as possible in order to kill them, without being caught by the player, who has to find out who the murderer is. Wink wink nudge nudge. Alternative form of nudge nudge wink wink. Winka peep and I. Winka peeps. Plural of winka peep. Wink wink, to turn a blind eye to something, to make an indirect reference to something unspoken, especially something indecent. Winkburn, a small village and civil parish without a council in Newark and Sherwood District, Nottinghamshire, England. OS Gridref SK 7158. Wait, simple past and past participle of wink. Winked at, simple past and past participle of wink at. Wink common, a surname. Wink common, a surname. Wink Cummins. Plural of Wink Cummins. Wink Cummins. Plural of Wink Cummins. Winkles, a surname from German. Winkhouses. Plural of Winkles. Winger, a surname from German. Wenger, wearing winkers or blinders of a horse or other domesticated animal. Wengers, plural of winker. Wing, third person singular simple present indicative of wink. Wingy, abbreviation of Windows. key. Wengies, plural of winky. Wingfist, a work typified by winking, either literally or in the form of ironic self-reference. Wingkists, plural of wingfists. Wingfield, a surname. Wingfields, plural of wing. Field. Wigfield, a hamlet in Waterhouses Parish, Staffordshire Moorlands District, Staffordshire, England. OS Grid Ref SK 0651. Wengi, alternative form of winky, a monogon that shows a winking face. Wengies, plural of winky. Weggy, pronunciation, spelling of winking. Winking. Yes, the quality of being winky. Winking, present participle and gerund of wink. Winking at, present participle. And gerund of wink at. Winking monkey, the greater spot-nosed monkey circa Pithecus nictitans. Winking monkeys, plural of winking monkey. Winkingly, in a winking way, with a wink. Winkings, plural of winking. Winkle, a surname. Winkle out, to acquire with difficulty as by thorough scrutiny. Winkle picker, alternative spelling of winkle picker. Winkle pickers, plural of winkle picker. Winkle squeeze, a squeeze in which a trick is offered to the defenders, but whichever wins the trick is then in play. Winkle squeezes. Plural of winkle squeeze. Winkle hawk, a rectangular tear or cut in clothing or any. Plural of winkle squeeze. Winkle hawk, a rectangular tear or cut in clothing or any other fabric, shaped like a tri-square. Winkle hawks, plural of winkle hawk. Winkle bicker, a person who harvests periwinkles, a kind of sea snail to be eaten. Winkle pickers, plural of winkle picker. Winkleberry, a western suburb of Basingstoke and Dean District, Hampshire, England. OS Grid Ref SU 6152. Winkles, simple past and past participle of winkle. Winkled out, simple past and past participle of winkle out. Winkleman, a surname. Winklemans, plural of winkleman. Winklepicker, alternative form of winklepicker. Winklepickers. Plural of winklepicker. Winkler, a surname. Winkler bottle. a glass laboratory apparatus for measuring the amount of dissolved oxygen in water. Winkler bottles, plural of Winkler bottle. Winkler County, one of 254 counties in Texas, United States. County seat, Kermit. Winkler test, a test used to determine the concentration of dissolved oxygen in a water sample, involving the use of manganese to form a precipitate. Winklers, plural of Winkler. Winkles. Plural of Winkle. Winkles out. Third person singular simple present indicative of winkle out. Winkless. Of eyes, not winking. Winklevoss, a surname. Winklevosses, plural of Winklevoss. Wenkle, a surname from Old English. Wenkles. Plural of Winkley. Winkling, present participle and gerund of winkle. Winkling out, present participle and gerund of winkle out. Wings, a surname. Wingsat. Third person singular simple present indicative of wink at. Wingsa, marked by winking. With simple past. And past participle of wing. Winkton, a hamlet in Burton and Winkton Parish, Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole District, Dorset, England. Previously in Christchurch Borough, OS Grid Ref SC 1696. Winkworth, a surname. Winky, tending to wink, winking. Wenland, alternative form of Vinland. Wenlands, plural of Winland. Wenlaton, a suburban village in the metropolitan borough of Gateshead, Tyne and Ware, England. OS Grid Ref NZ 1762. Winless, having never won, without a win, unsuccessful. Winlessness, absence of wind, failure to attain victory. Wemai, joyous, winsome. Pleasant, gracious, goodly. Winmolly, a small village and civil parish in Wyre District, Lancashire, England. OS Grid Ref SD 4748. Winme, abbreviation of Windows Me. WinModem, a soft modem designed to work with the Microsoft Windows operating system. WinModems. Plural of WinModem. What? A surname. Wynn Parish, one of 64 parishes in Louisiana, United States, the equivalent of a county in other U.S. states. Parish seat, Winfield. Winnability, the quality of being winnable, the possibility that one can win at all. Whittle, able to be won or achieved. Winner, the Red Wing. Winners, plural. Of winner. What? A surname. Winnebago. Any of a Native American people of Wisconsin and Nebraska, now called Ho-Chunk. Winnebago County, one of 102 counties in Illinois, United States. County seat, Rockford. Winnebagos, plural of Winnebago. Winnebagos, plural of Winnebago. 1. Simple past and past participle of win. Winnemucca, a city, the county seat of Humboldt County, Nevada, United States. Winner. One who has won or often wins. Winner take all. Alternative form of winner take all. Winner takes all. Alternative form of winner take all. Winner's circle, an enclosed area next to a racetrack where the winning horse and jockey are brought for photograph. And awards. Winner's curse, the phenomenon whereby the winner of an auction is likely to overpay since each bid represents a bidder's estimate of the item's value, and one would expect the average bid to be the most accurate. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, an expression or declaration of victory, especially in a game of chance. Winner take all, of or pertaining to a contest, election, or other competition in which only the winner is rewarded and none of the losers receive anything. Winner takes all, alternative form of winner take all. Winnerler, the state or condition of a winner. Winnerless. Without a winner. Winners, plural of winner. Winners take all, alternative form of winner take all. Winner's rostrum, a platform with 3 height levels on which the 3 most successful sports competitors stand when receiving medals. Winner's rostrum. Plural of winner's rostrum. Gritters, a large village and civil parish in Wokingham Borough, Berkshire, England. OS Grid Ref SU 7870. Winnershire, the equality of being a winner. Wins, plural of win. Winneshiek, an unincorporated community in Stephenson County, Illinois. United States. Winneshiek County, one of 99 counties in Iowa, United States. County seat, Decorah. Buenas. Second person singular simple present indicative of when. Wet, a female given name. Buena, third person singular simple present indicative of when. Winnetka, a village in Cook County, Illinois, United States. Winneton, of or relating to Winnetka. Winnetkins, plural of Winnetkin. Winnets, plural of Winnet. Wet, a surname. Winnets, plural of Winnet. Winnie, synonym of Winnebago. Winfield, a city, the parish seat of Wynn Parish, Louisiana, United States. Woody, Winnacksaukie. Woody, a surname. Winnecks, plural of Winnick. Winnickai. A surname. Winnicotchin, of or relating to Donald Winnicott 1896-1971, English pediatrician and psychoanalyst. Winnie, a diminutive of the female given name Winifred or, less often, of Winona. Winnie the Pooh, a talking bear from an English children's book series carrying the same name, noted for his sweet, simple nature and his love of honey. Winnie the Poohish, alternative form of Winnie the Poohish. Winnie the Poohish, alternative form of Winnie the Poohish. Winnie the Poohs, plural of Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh, alternative form of Winnie the Pooh, the original A. At Melanie form contains hyphens. Winnie the Poohish, resembling or characteristic of the 1926 children's book Winnie the Pooh by English author A. At Melody. Winnes, plural of Winnie. Winifred, a female given name from Welsh, variant of Winifred. Winne, a surname from Polish. Winnex, plural of Winnick. Win, pronunciation spelling of winning. Winning, a surname. Winning around. Present participle and gerund of win around. Winning back. Present participle and gerund of win back. Winning by a nose. Present participle and gerund of win by a nose. Winning hand. A handful of cards held by a player that beats all others in a card game. Winning hands, plural of winning hand. Winning hazard, when one's cue ball strikes some other ball and causes that other ball to sink into a pocket. If the sunken ball is the red ball, then one scores 3 points. But if the sunken ball is the other player's cue ball, then one scores 2 points. Winning hazards, plural of winning hazard. Winning is a great deodorant. Synonym of success is a great deodorant. Winning mentalities, plural of winning mentality. Winning one for the jipper. Present participle and gerund of win one for the jipper. Winning out. Present participle and gerund of win out. Winning up. Over. Present participle and gerund of win over. Winning post. The post that marks the end of a racehorse, sometimes equipped with a camera for recording photo finishes. Winning posts. Plural of winning posts. Winning round. Present participle and gerund of win round. Winning streak, an uninterrupted sequence of wins. Winning streaks, plural of winning streak. Winning the battle, but losing the war. Present participle and gerund of win the battle, but lose the war. Winning the day. Present participle and gerund of win the day. Winning the lottery. Present participle and gerund of win the lottery. Winning through. Present participle and gerund of win through. Winning up. Present participle and gerund of win up. Winning ways. A winning streak. A sequence of winning games. Winninger. Comparative form of winning. More winning. Winningest. Superlative form of winning. Most winning. Winningham. A surname. Winninghams. Plural of Winningham. Winningly. In a winning manner. Winningness. The quality or state of being winning. Winnings. Plural of winning. Winnington. A suburb of Northwich, Cheshire, West and Chester District, Cheshire, England. OS Grid Ref SJ 6473. Winnenish. Alternative form of Wanish. Winnipeg. The capital city of Manitoba, Canada. Winnipeg couch. A simple couch having no back or arms that can be converted into a double bed. Winnipeg couches. Plural of Winnipeg couch. Winnipeg Goldeye. Synonym of Goldeye. Winnipeg Goldeyes. Plural of Winnipeg. Goldeye. Winnipegger. A native or resident of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Winnipeggers. Plural of Winnipegger. Wenai Pigeon. Synonym of Winnipegger, a denizen of Winnipeg. Wenai Pigeons. Plural of Wenai Pigeon. Winnipeg, from characteristic of or resembling the city of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Winnipegonian, synonym of Winnipegger, a denizen of Winnipeg. Winnipegonians. Plural of Winnipegonian. Winnipegoses, a place name. Winnipesaukee, a large lake in New Hampshire, United States. Winnester, a surname. Winnitude, success or excellence, the characteristic of a winner. Winnonish. Alternative form of Wannanish. Winnow, to subject granular material, especially food grain, to a current of air separating heavier and lighter components as grain from chaff. Winnow down, to reduce the number of candidates for something by judging their quality and rejecting some. Winnow grain from chaff, synonym of separate the wheat from the chaff. Wheat from the chaff. Winnow up, to winnow something. Winnowed, simple past and past participle of winnow. Winnowed down, simple past and past participle of winnow down. Winnowed up, simple past and past participle of winnow up. Winnower, a person who winnows. Winnowers. Plural of winnower. Winnowists, second person singular simple present indicative of winnow. Winnow, third person singular simple present indicative of winnow. Winnowing. The act of separating chaff from grain. Winnowing basket. A basket used to winnow rice or grain from the chaff. Winnowing. Baskets, plural of winnowing basket. Winnowing down. Present participle and gerund of winnow down. Winnowing fan, a specially shaped winnowing basket in which grain is shaken in the process of winnowing, with the shape of the basket allowing the chaff to spill out more readily. Winnowing fans, plural of winnowing fan. Winnowing fork, a pitchfork used to winnow rice or grain from the chaff. Winnowing forks, plural of winnowing fork. Winnowing machine, a machine which winnows grain. Winnowing machine. Plural of winnowing machine. Winnowing shovel, a shovel used to winnow rice or grain from the chaff. Winnowing shovels, Plural of winnowing shovel. Winnowing up. Present participle and gerund of winnow up. Winnowing fan. Alternative spelling of winnowing fan. Winnowing fans. Plural of winnowing fan. Winnowing fork. Alternative spelling of winnowing fork. Winnowing forks. Plural of winnowing. Fork. Winnowing shovel. Alternative spelling of winnowing shovel. Winnowing shovels. Plural of winnowing shovel. Winnowings. Plural of winnowing. Winnows. Third person singular simple present indicative of winnow. Winnows down. Third person singular simple present indicative of winnow down. Winnows up. Third person singular simple present indicative of winnow up. Winsboro, a city, the parish seat of Franklin Parish, Louisiana, United States. Win NT. Abbreviation of Windows NT. Winning. Synonym. Of Winnebago. Wino. A chronic or heavy drinker of cheap wine or other alcohol, especially a drunkard. Winokur. A surname. Winos, plural of wino. Winograd, a surname from Polish. Winograd. Plural of Winograd. Winogradsky tests. A soil test for fertility by determining its suitability for growing azotobacter. Winokur, a surname from Russian. Winnow. Winnowkers, plural of winnoker. Winona, a female. Given name from Dakota, used mainly in the United States. Winona County, one of 87 counties in Minnesota, United States. Counties. Seat, Winona. Winona Junction, synonym of Metairie, the unincorporated community in La Crosse County, Wisconsin. Winooski, a city in Vermont. Winos, plural of wino. WinP, abbreviation of Microsoft Windows pre-installation environment. Winquist, a surname from Swedish. Winkrits, plural of Winquist. Winrace, a winning horse's fastest time. Winraces. Plural of winrace. Winnoy, the proportion of games played that are won by a given player. Win rates, plural of win rate. Widrow, a surname. Winrose. Plural of winrow. WinRT, abbreviation of Windows Runtime. Wins, a Microsoft-based solution stack consisting of the Windows Server operating system, Internet Information Services, web server, .NET framework, and SQL Server database. Wins, plural of win. Wins around. Third person singular simple present indicative of win around. Wins back. Third person singular simple present indicative of win back. Wins by a nose. Third person singular simple present indicative of win by a nose. Wins on Sunday, sells on Monday. Alternative form of what wins on Sunday sells on Monday. Wins one for the jibber. Third person singular simple present indicative of win one for the jibber. Wins out. Third person singular simple present indicative of win out. Wins over. Third person singular simple present indicative of win over. Wins round. Third person singular simple present indicative of win round. Wins the battle, but loses the war. Third person singular simple present indicative of win the battle, but lose the war. Wins the day. Third person singular simple present indicative of win the day. Wins the lottery. Third person singular simple present indicative of win the lottery. Wins through. Third person singular simple present indicative of win through. Wins up. Third person singular simple present indicative of win up. Win Scales, a hamlet and civil parish in Cumberland District, Cumbria, England. Previously in Allerdale Borough OS Grid Ref NY0226. Winscombe, a village in Winscombe and Sanford Parish, North Somerset District, Somerset, England OS Grid Ref ST 4257. Winscombe and Sanford, a civil parish in North Somerset District, Somerset, England. Wenset, a surname. Wenset, plural of Winset. Wense, alternative form of Winsey. Wenses, plural of Winsey. Wensford, a market town and civil parish with a town council in Cheshire West and Chester, Cheshire, England OS Grid Ref. SJ 6566. Wintown, a village and civil parish in South Somerset District, Somerset, England. OS Grid Ref SD 3706. Winship. A surname. Winships, plural of Winship. Winslet. A surname. Winslets, plural of Winslet. Winsley, a hamlet in Hartwith-cum-Winsley Parish, Harrogate Borough, North Yorkshire, England. OS Grid Ref SE 2361. Winslow, a place name. Wensai, the Windows interface to TCP/IP. Wensai, charming, engaging, winning, inspiring approval and trust, especially if in an innocent manner. Winsomely, in a winsome manner. Winsomeness, the quality of a winsome. Winsomeness, plural of winsomeness. Winsomer, comparative form of winsome, more winsome. Winsomess, superlative. The form of winsome, most winsome. Winson, a village and civil parish without a council in Cotswold District, Gloucestershire, England. Grid Ref SB 0908. Winston Green, an inner suburb of the city of Birmingham, West Midlands, England. OS Grid Ref SB 0488. Windsor, a surname. Windsorization, non-Oxford British English Standard spelling of Windsorization. Windsorize, non-Oxford British English Standard spelling of Windsorize. Windsorize, simple past and past participle of windsorize. Windsorizing, present participle and gerund of windsorize. Windsorization, alternative letter case form of windsorization. Windsorizations, plural of windsorization. Windsorize, alternative letter case form of Windsorize. Windsorize, simple past and past participle of windsorize. Windsorizes, third person singular simple. Present indicative of windsorize. Windsorizing, present participle and gerund of windsorize. Windsors, plural of winds. Winstanley, a suburb in the metropolitan borough of Wigan, Greater Manchester, England. OS Grid Ref SD 5503. Winstanley, an isometric diplytyl mineral containing oxygen, tellurium, and titanium. Winstanleys. Plural of Winstanley. Winstack, a surname.